gosh, it's like it never ends. I always forget a little something. I'm definitely gonna make myself a checklist of all the things I need to click on before I start a stream. In any case, guys, apologies. I'd been streaming for about how long have I been streaming for? Brilliant, 15 minutes. For 15 minutes, I've been talking to no one on Twitch, which is still kind of funny. In any case, guys, for the guys just joining us on YouTube, welcome back. This was not a I wasn't having a super special elite membership private first 15 minutes to the stream. I just forgot to click go live on YouTube. I won't do this again. Again, it seems like I have to do all the mistakes before I get everything right. That's okay. That's me. That's the way that's the way this stream is gonna put itself together. What was I talking about? Essentially the same exercise that everybody always recommends to do, the sort of 4-finger per fret and all of its variants, you know, the sort of static hold one where you move one finger at a time, or the spider. You know, all of these exercises that are super cool to do. Well, there's a ton of different ways to make them more interesting if you happen to be one of those sort of more advanced players, and you kind of just like, why do I need to do this? Why would I need to just go through those one finger per fret exercises at all? Does it make any sense? Well, yes, it does, because muscles don't just maintain themselves. You have to sort of you have to trigger them in order to maintain. You have to stimulate. Stimulate is the right word. Solicitate. You have to stimulate them in order to maintain that strength, and that's something I can 100% talk about, because that's why I'm doing this stream. It's because I haven't done it. I had not been doing this in ages, and I'd noticed that my my ability to play bass had sort of decreased a little bit. I wasn't able to perform technical bass lines as well as I used to be able to do before, and just a very important thing to maintain if you want to be a performing bass player, or even just you know, if you're just an amateur, which means, you know, your livelihood doesn't depend on it. You might be doing this for fun, but you don't want the fun to stop because of an injury, because of pain, or because, you know, you've got lots of other things to do with your hands all day long, whether it's typing on a keyboard, lifting heavy loads. You don't want to add stress to that by practicing recklessly, if there's such a thing. There is such a thing, and I've been guilty of that many times. You don't want to be practicing recklessly. And YouTube is giving me grief again because of the speed stream, the speed of the stream. Oh, this is unpleasant, guys. Sorry about the lag. I've upgraded my connection, but it's going to take another couple of weeks before it comes into effect. And after that, hopefully all of these issues are going to be solved. I'm connected directly with a P40, what's it called, a something 45 cable. So I shouldn't be having this problem anymore. It seems that it's come back, it's crept back. Also, there was a lot of work being done in the streets. I think they're installing fiber optic cables down the street, so that might have something to do with it. In any case, I've been releasing, I uploaded on the Patreon today a bunch of tracks that you guys should be having a look at. Shared screen. That's the old overlay. I forgot to change that one. In any case, guys, that's the Patreon, and you have access to these tracks that I mentioned earlier. For instance, the drum track. I'm not sure he's going to capture it. Yeah, it is. So as I said, this exercise you could totally be doing to a track in order to make it just more enjoyable, because this is the way it goes. So that's one other thing that you can do with this particular exercise, and all variations thereof. Like I said, the static hold, when you move one finger at a time. Well, you can play all of that with this cool little backing track that I just uploaded. Patreon, go check it out. It's there for free, and I think it's well, most importantly, it's definitely the way I've been practicing bass all my life, really. Ever since I've picked up the instrument, my goal was to practice whilst playing along to tracks. I wanted to play my favorite tunes, and I can't think of a single bass player, famous bass player in history who's never mentioned in an interview that they didn't play along to records. That's learning an instrument 101. If you're interested in playing any sort of non-classical music, you play to the recording, because people buy that record because it sounds a particular way, and that's what you're trying to emulate. So you emulate it by listening to it constantly, consistently, and by being. That's another point that I wanted to bring up today, is the ability to be self-critical, and in a way that's it's not something that we talk a lot nowadays, on sort of YouTube channels, because when you start off playing, it's a little bit daunting to be hearing teachers telling you, like, listen, it's just not good enough, it's not good enough, it's not good, it doesn't sound good enough yet, which is, for most people, that includes me, sadly a reality. It's just, you're constantly going to be striving to sound like your heroes. But that's also kind of the point. You never really want to get there, because what do you do once you've sort of slain the dragon? Well, your quest is over, and did what? You just put down the base? No. The thing is that you always have to have heroes to look up to, and that's the thing that should be driving everybody's attitude towards practicing. It's okay, yeah, I'll never be Pino, I'll never be Hadrian Fraud, I'll never be Francis Rocket Prestia, who incidentally is the bass player on the track that inspired this backing track that I released today. From what a tune! And you see, this kind of groove really highlights. It's supposed, all of these backing tracks that I'm picking for you guys, they're not supposed to be crutches. They're supposed to be mirrors. Ideally, what you would do is record yourself playing along to one of these tracks. Loads of softwares allow you to do that if you don't happen to have like Ableton, Cubase, or Pro Tools, or Logic Pro. Audacity is a free software that would allow you to do just that. Plug your bass into your computer and play along to one of these tracks and record yourself, and listen really, really carefully to what you're doing, essentially. So that's what I mean by a mirror. They're supposed to make your practice more fun if you're doing one finger per fret exercises, or scale. But the idea is to try and gel with the drummer, to try and really emulate what the bass player does when the bass player's not there, because that's a crutch. That's kind of one of the issues of playing along to tracks, is that sometimes you think you're playing really well because there's a legendary bass player essentially supporting you at all times, just in case you falter. There's this guy just be like, "Don't worry, bro, I got you," and it's it's Pino, it's all the legends that I've quoted before. It's Marcus Miller and all of that. Well, what happens when it's just drums and you have to carry half the weight of that groove? You have to share the load of that funk, or that that drive, or whatever the kind of groove you're playing. You have to share that with the drummer, and it's just on you. And you have to have, you as a musician, or even as an amateur, if you want to make your if you want to improve your playing, you have to be able to be self-critical, but in the most positive way, the most positive light possible, which is, we have nowadays the ability to record ourselves, and the ability to really, really scrutinize all the parts, all the little details about our playing, and play it back practically infinitely, essentially, and really hone in on all the little things that might not exactly be, oh, I could be practicing. Well, brilliant. We have the tools to highlight all of that today, and you can become a better bass player, but you don't have to do that in public, which is fantastic for people who let's say struggle a little bit with with stage fright, or who are very shy, or not really willing to put themselves in tough, stressful situations, um, jam nights or whatever. Well, you can totally just practice in the safety of your own tiny little home recording studio, where you can just play yourself back, and the only person that's ever going to hear you is yourself. Why are you not doing that? If you are, brilliant. Keep doing it. You can always be more self-critical. The goal is not to demoralize yourself. The goal is it's like every time you notice a little weakness or mistake, or your placement is not as good, or technical, it's a bit sluggish, a bit sloppy. Brilliant. That's like you've just found gold. You've literally just struck gold, because that's one thing that you now know you can improve. Now that you know it exists, now that you know it's there, you've got leverage over it. You you've actually acquired the power to do something about it. Whereas if you don't record yourself, absolutely no chance. No chance of doing that. If you don't record yourself, you'll never know. You'll never get any feedback, because in a country like Belgium, where I moved to, the chances of playing live are few and far between. Sadly, because the live music culture is not that strong in my country. But in the UK, for instance, where I lived for a long time, about 15 years, there's loads of opportunities. There's still loads of jams. There's loads of people. You can go to people's studios. You can do this, do that. Take the tube with your guitar. It's super super easy. You can play any day of the week if you want to, with friends in public. Go to an open mic, or especially during the summer. Just that's it. Put yourself to the test by playing a bunch of function gigs. Well, amazing. In Belgium, not so easy. Not so easy. So when there isn't, when the proving ground, i.e., sort of time in the saddle opportunities, are not as frequent as they should be, in my view, well, you should be doing this. You should be taking the opportunity to record yourself to drum tracks, not rely on actual tracks, and compare yourself to what you hear in your heroes playing. Um, so that's something I wanted to talk about today. Not being afraid to do this kind of stuff, because it's because it's that is definitely the one thing that is probably the scariest, because it is a bit of an awakening. So the initial reaction is always going to be, holy moly, I'm not there yet. So it can have a bit of a demoralizing effect, but it really shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. You can choose to not be demoralized. Demoralized. Oof, gosh, I really struggle with that one. You can choose to not be demoralized by listening back to yourself and noticing that it's just not good. It's not there yet. But like I said before, that's when you struck gold. That's when you become aware of a weakness, and now you can improve upon it. So what else can you wish for? It is just a mindset thing. I don't want to get into the whole. Well, I'm not one of those podcasters, guys, who can talk about mindset for hours. Although maybe I could, because maybe I just did. But the point is, it is so necessary and super super gratifying, because imagine you do that once a week for a couple of months. Well, you come back to the initial recording, and if you've done it consistently, well, you won't be surprised by the results. It will have improved. There's absolutely no doubt that you will have improved if you do this simple thing. It's guaranteed that you will improve. It's not a cheat code. It's just being able to face up to your weaknesses and be like, okay, yeah, maybe I'm not as good as I thought I was. But at the same time, you can just play your favorite track, the one you know perfectly well, the technique, blah 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 blah. play that tune, you'll feel better about yourself immediately. Be like, yeah, you know what? No, actually, I do know what I'm doing, but there are some things to improve. And that's that fine line that musicians constantly have to that tightrope that musicians constantly have to walk. It's I'm not good enough, but I have to not I have to enjoy working on it, but I have to find ways to make it, not like a video game, but like short-term rewards. Every week I notice an improvement. I notice I'm stronger with my left hand. My right hand is faster. I have got more control. There's less buzzing, less ringing. I've got more control over the muting. So all of these things happen when you practice and when you record yourself without a crutch. Now, there's also the super hardcore way to do that, which is just put a click on. Just put a click on and that's it. The old exercise that we did for a while of putting the tempo at 40. Really, really, really slow pace. No, I don't want bongos. Just a click. All right. So we've got a click. So this exercise. See what I mean? It's like I can hear it. I don't need to record myself for now because it's just the bare bones. But the point is, boy, do I feel bad about my playing just then, because I don't think I hit a single one of these ticks literally on the dot. But that's it. I know for a fact that that's something I need to improve. And the feedback, it feels a little bit, crappy for sure. But I also know that's like brilliant. That's, mission added to my quest log or whatever, is I've got something I can do and I know exactly what the parameters are. I need to hit more notes. I need to be able to follow the metronome better. Let's say I need to hit 5 ticks in a row perfectly well. And I'll allow for myself to just miss one, for instance. So if I try to do that now. Nope. Nope. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with some of these. See, but that's the point. It's you don't get good. You don't get good. You don't get good. You don't get good immediately, or you don't improve by just doing it once. You improve by adding these little things, these little exercises to your daily quest log, your daily quest book, and that's what I'm trying to do here. I know I'm doing a lot more talking today because spoiler alert, that's not the word. Anyway, I do like to talk, especially about practice and music and routines and all of that, because so much of what you find on the internet is, and I understand why, it's attention. It captures the attention. I was like, 5 ways that you will improve your bass playing immediately. It's like, well, sure, you will improve it immediately by doing these things consistently over a certain period of time. It's like somebody just gave you their quest log. It's like, oh, this is what I do every day to improve immediately, air quotes. Yeah, of course it is. But there's nothing, you don't integrate a new practice element by just hearing about it. You integrate it by repeating it every single day. And like I said, there comes a time where you become super, super comfortable with one of the exercises, with one of these daily quests. Well, how about that? Now this little quest is not a main quest anymore. It's a secondary quest that's attached to another practice exercise that you're developing. Like I said, you play along to this funky groove that I devised. I didn't devise it. I took a lot of inspiration from it. So here it is. At 40. No, that's not going to work. Right. So 1 finger per fret. Level 2 is level 3 might be. You see what I mean? You can start to add a right hand practice routine to your left hand practice routine. Once you get comfortable with these two, brilliant. Now you can play with the patterns on the drum track, and you keep adding, like a pyramid, you keep adding difficulty levels to these things. Now, as a beginner, maybe you're not aware of all these levels that you can implement with them, things that will improve your bass playing immediately. Yeah, they're not lying to you, for sure. They're not lying to you. But then, by becoming aware of these exercises, you get like it's like a buffet. It's a buffet of exercises, and once you're comfortable with a bunch of them, you can start. And now we're cooking, literally. I think that's the metaphor. It's also probably because I'm a little bit hungry. I'm gonna make pasta carbonara tonight. But that's a little something about practice that I think is not really talked about, because it's not really shiny. It's not really attention grabbing. It's not the most fun thing to accept. Is practice consistently. It doesn't have to be an hour every day. It doesn't have to be 10 hours every day. You know, you're not a classical pianist preparing for the Queen Elizabeth competition, you know, which requires, I don't know, like 10, 12 hours of practice over the course of 10, 20 years. You know, some of these pianists start at age 2 or whatever, or violinists, violin players. That's not what I'm talking about. There's, for us, pop players, I suppose, popular music, people who play popular music, you know, jazz, funk, any sort of stuff. We don't particularly need these practice regimes because it's a completely different discipline. We're not, the framework in which we operate is quite a different one from classical music. So we've got all the freedom that we want in there, and we can. It's a bit like sport. You can practice for half an hour every day. You can practice for 10 hours every day. Depends on what the goal is. But if you want to, you know, if you're in a band, you want to enjoy playing, it doesn't have to be hours and hours and hours. It just has to be efficient. I always remember this Herbie Hancock. Again, guys, sorry about the stream speed. I know it's terrible today. The internet provider will give me a better package at the end of this month, so bear with me. I promise you guys it will improve. I'm still working on it. It's only like my 10th or 11th stream, but I'm working on it every day. Check out the Patreon. There's a bunch of free resources that I'm putting on there every day. I always remember this Herbie Hancock story where he talks about, you know, having tried all sorts of practice routines over the course of his career, and God knows the guy has I mean, he's amongst all the constellations, all the stars, the legends. He's up there. Like, Herbie is one of the best musicians ever to have graced us with his presence on Earth. But he eventually boiled it down to just a very simple left hand, right hand alternating pattern that does essentially covered all of his bases. And over the course of 20 minutes, he could get his warm up done, his sort of harmony refreshers done, all of the stretches done, all of the speed he could add onto that as well. All of the agility, the dexterity was boiled into, it's reduced into its essence into this exercise. And that's what I think we're all trying to do when it comes to our own practice and education in general, is to try and boil it down to its essence so that it becomes the most efficient practice routine possible. And we do that by being self-critical, by constantly thinking about combining exercises together without losing the improvement potential of an exercise. You know, it doesn't have to be a zero-sum game. Or if I do more left hand, then I do less right hand. No. These things don't have to be negatives of one another. It's possible to do a whole bunch of things together. Maybe Herbie was being a bit hyperbolic when he said, that's all I do, that's all my practice now. Because, I mean, obviously the guy's at a level where he's internalized harmony and musicality so much that maybe for him, he doesn't need to revisit that anymore because he does it on such a regular basis, being an educator and a performer. But for us who just want to maintain a good level and a good grasp and good command over our instrument, a good rhythmic placement, a good set of ears, you know, being able to listen to what we do and listen to all the other band members whilst we're playing and maybe singing at the same time, well, there's plenty of options for us to combine all of these cool exercises together. And that's definitely the sort of journey that I'm on. I want to be able to combine more exercises to make it more efficient. Obviously, not one single exercise is going to do all of that. And full disclosure, I'm not really good at harmony. I've got a good set of ears because I've practiced it. I don't have perfect pitch, and I started playing bass when I was 17, so I didn't start off really young. I started off when a bunch of guys in high school were already like cool rock and roll dudes. Gosh, I'm really dating myself. But cool guys in bands, that kind of stuff. I was a latecomer, but because I practiced, because I was hungry, and because I have this kind of mindset of always trying to get to a more efficient practice routine, I would find ways to make exercises more difficult once I get to a level of comfort with a particular exercise that I can then build on top of and add more elements to it. So that's one thing that I wanted to talk about today. That's covered most of today's stream, but that's awesome. I hope the speed isn't too bad, guys. Again, if it crashes a little bit, it will improve at the end of the month. I won't stop streaming. Nobody will shut me up. I will keep streaming forever and ever. And hopefully I can find a regular time slot as well. Let me know in the comments, guys, if maybe like a 6 or 7 o'clock, wherever you are in the world. Just let me know where you are, and I'll see if I can find more convenient times, so that I can start getting more and more people involved. Because the goal is to talk. The goal is it's supposed to be a forum where you guys ask me anything. It's like, oh, I'm doing this and I think it's better. Awesome, dude. Please tell me what you're doing. I'll invite you guys onto the stream once I figure out how to do that. Guys, not a boomer, but I'm not. I'm a bit of a Luddite when it comes to tech. I've pushed it as far back as possible to learn all these things. So bear with me. I'm on it now. I see the value of it. My eyes have been opened. I will do more of that. The point is, I also wanted to talk about. I think I'm going to get loads of copyright strikes for this, but I thought it would be a cool thing to do, not like a book club, but an album club, where over the course of a stream or a couple of streams or just a week, like a series, we'd go through a bunch of albums. Maybe not every single track, even though I'm sure every single track has something to offer, but go through the sort of the coolest tracks, or the ones that have the most intricacies in them in terms of bass playing, obviously, and take them apart and try and see what makes the song work, what makes the bass line interesting, and why does it work? Why does a complicated bass line work under a super simple pop song, and why does a super simple bass line, why does it work over a super complicated other things? Do you know what I mean? It's how all of these things integrate together, and I really want people to start commenting on it, and maybe have guests on the stream as well, so that it becomes more of a like I said, like a hub, an AMA. Ask me anything. The stream speed is crashed again. Apologies, guys. I'm working on it. I promise it will improve. So today there was this. I want to talk about. Oh, which one am I going to do? Because they're just so cool. Okay, I'm going to do another one because this is a track called Army by Lady A. The bass line on this tune is mental. When we come to the chorus, she can hold my dreams right there in her pocket. It's an E flat. She's a parachute, bulletproof. Oh, she's the softest place to land. On the front line, she's a statue, a safe place to run to, the strength that it.
So if anybody thinks I'm a hero, when they watch me walk right into the flames, I'm just marching to the sound of her heartbeat. Yeah, I'm a soldier, but if I'm a soldier, she's an army, an army, an army. Yeah, she's an army, an army, an army. I ain't
And I mean, I'm not lying to you. That's the actual bass line over a Lady A country love song. I'm like, this is just mental. And that's the loop. You wouldn't think that this kind of like octave thing would work well with such a track, but it just makes it just so unbelievably cool and bouncy. And it's not, it's not a happy tune. It's a guy just professing his love. He talks about how his wife or whatever is an army and he's a soldier. I mean, it's kind of cheesy, you know what I mean? I'm really into that. I love that kind of stuff. Full disclosure, I have a very, very cheesy fiber, whatever. I love this kind of stuff. But you wouldn't at all pick this kind of bass line to go underneath that song. I mean, I suppose. I would have in the studio. I think I would have played eighth notes all the way through this kind of stuff because it drives. It's just army with the imagery, like. And this is why I love these kind of songs. It's just they're so surprising because it's a window into somebody else's. It's a window into another bass player's mind or another producer's mind, and I may not yet have the sort of. I'm not one of those bass players that will come like Johnny Big Boots in the studio and be like, "Oh, I'm gonna be doing this, be doing that." This has got to be a communal effort, like the producers and the this and the that, and everybody chips in, and eventually the bass line takes shape, and they end up with this awesome, bouncy, nearly like giddy's not the word. It's like, yeah, it's definitely got a step in it, like this bass. It's not the kind of thing that you would picture under this kind of track. So I super strongly recommend that you guys listen to this tune. It's actually also quite a difficult bass line to play because it's an E flat. I'm guessing that it's played on the 4th string because you can kind of hear that sort of open string quality to the notes, and it's not an easy tune, mainly because the muting is a little bit tricky, always with open strings. But you have to do quite a lot of jumping. Why do I keep turning this down? Do you know what I mean? There's lots of opportunities for leakage in this kind of bass lines because open strings, as you know, guys, they're dangerous. Once you plug them, ain't nothing stopping them. That's it. Sound is there. You've got to do something to stop the sound. You can't just play the next note and it will stop it. So that adds a little bit. It adds something of some difficulty to. It adds some difficulty to it. So I would strongly recommend that you guys listen to this track. Learn the bass line. If it's not your bag, I'll come up with some other songs. But I do have a little bit of a penchant for cheesy country pop tunes. And if you guys don't like it, I'm really sorry. Maybe there's another streamer out there that will play more. Although I do want to do some metal. I do want to do some gent, some metal stuff like that as well, because I've never really done any of that, and not so much the sound design of it, because that's like, I mean, I just don't have the pedals for that or the tech to do all of that. But in terms of rhythm and creativity, these lines they're up there. They're really up there, and super technical as well. I've talked so much, and I have not done any kind of practicing whatsoever. This is not serious, guys. Okay, I'm going to put on a track and actually shut up and do a little bit of practicing. But not the one that we just practiced to. Could you take the pins out? No, let's not put that one on. Velvet tracksuit. No, let's do the funk. Let's do the funk track again. The one inspired by "What Is Hip" by Tower of Power. You guys know this track. That's not the actual bass lines, guys, I know. I'm doing this the other way around. I should be doing my one finger puppet exercises. Let's do some of it. Let's do some of it. Come on. Discipline. I'm getting sidetracked by the beat. Start again. Notes. Well, cool. I really enjoyed this particular exercise. Now to the second one, the spider. If you guys remember. I can tell I haven't done this in a few days. That's gonna be buzzy as hell. Such a good exercise for agility, left hand. And doing it slowly is kind of the goal here. It has to be sort of slow to hurt a little bit. Five-second pause. We don't want to hurt ourselves. I've also just detuned the bass. Not the best thing to do on a stream, but that's fine. And we're back with the beat. one still hurts. Fantastic exercise, guys. The pattern is super simple. Like I said, it's basically one, one finger per fret, except you alternate between string 1 and 2, then you alternate between string 1 and 3, and then you reverse that position. So you do one E string, D string, E string, D string, E string, D string, E string, D string, with different fingers. So like this, and then like that. Actually, that's not a bad exercise as well. Ooh. Yeah, it's kind of a cool thing to do. Ooh. Tension in that left hand. It's crazy, crazy, crazy. Fantastic exercise. Super strongly recommended, guys. We're going to do a little bit of placement today because I haven't done that in a while either. So that's going to be my one of my brand new tracks called Velvet Tracksuit. Strongly inspired by Alana Miles's Black Velvet. You guys know this tune. Oh, that was crappy. Sorry, I'm so out of tune. And what I'll do is I'll record 5 minutes of this, or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. It doesn't matter. Like, you know, a extended period of time. At least a minute of this to sort of give myself the opportunity to get into the groove, and then I'll listen back, and I'll try to remember. Oh, was I lacking focus there? Was I thinking about something else? You know, immediately, not the day after, not 5 minutes later. Just immediately, I'll listen back to it and retrace my steps and be like, okay, how do I? When I lose focus, my placement tends to be a little bit looser, or I tend to rush a bit. Or I'm not consistent, you know, I'm not playing the notes as hard everywhere. There's just no consistency. Not like a robot, but like, you know, like a human that means business. Because these tracks mean business. But in any case, guys, I didn't prepare so much today, so it's gonna be a slightly shorter stream, and I am starving. I hope that you guys can't hear my stomach growling, but I am very, very hungry. In any case, guys, do check out the Patreon. All of these tracks are available on there. You'll be able to listen to them. If not, download them, leave a comment, and then I'll move them to a different section where you can actually, you know, get the MP3s. Maybe I'll put the stems behind the paywall as well if you do want access to the actual track and be able to slow it down, speed it up at like specific tempos. Yeah, I'll do a bunch of these, and that's it. Hopefully the connection is better, because right now it's not fun for anyone to sort of slog through this terrible YouTube connection. Apologies again, guys. I'm not gonna stop. I love streaming. And I want to build a community of people who like to talk about all of that. The philosophy of practicing consistently, discipline, motivation, lots and lots and lots of things. Nothing is off topic except politics, maybe. Mainly base focused, and how to overcome, you know, the struggle of practicing and staying motivated when you maybe don't have anything to hook you and pull you forward. So that's the mission I've set for myself, and hopefully you guys get to be a part of that journey. that'd be great. In any case, go check out the YouTube channel, go check out the Patreon, go check out the Instagram. We'll make this fun. It's going to take a while. No, that's fine. I'm not going anywhere. We'll have fun along the way. I'm having fun, and hopefully you guys come along for the ride. Good to good to see everyone today. Not to see you guys, but you know what I mean. Toodles.